Got 3, 5, white, push, 2 shots.
Welcome into another episode of the Ball Boys podcast. I am your host, Caleb Zuver. With me today, again, as always, Aleksa Matijevic. And Aleksa, we had to do a different little setup here because we have a guest with us today. This is our first time having someone as a guest in person. Obviously, we had Noah Roebuck, Eli Tressler over a Zoom call, but this is the first time we've had somebody in person. Austin Selvey, a.k.a. Hoosier Posse 15, is with us today. Austin, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How about you guys?
Oh,
good?
We're doing great. We're doing great. And just so our audience can kind of get to know you a little bit, Austin, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, why you're at Ball State, what you're studying, how you met us.
All right. I'm from Muncie, right here, where Ball State is, obviously. Big sport guy, obviously. I'm here. I'm on this podcast. Have to be. Met Caleb because we were having the same problems, with roommates,
Hopefully they're not listening to the podcast, by the way.
Keep going. Hopefully. And then met Aleksa through Caleb, obviously. We bought some meat today. Good time.
Oh yeah, explain that, because this was fun today. I had a good time today. We've talked about doing that for a couple of days now. Go. Let's get away from all the everybody wants to. Who cares? Let's talk about this thing because this was really fun.
Okay, so me and Zuver were talking. We watched Cody Co's video of him ranking tier list of deli meats. Okay. And we decided, it was like a Sunday, to make sandwiches and have people over to our dorm during COVID, yes. But have people over to our dorm and make sandwiches for them. And so we got pastrami, which I've never had. It's absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Only warm, though.
Yeah,
roast
absolutely.
beef, decent. I'd give it a C. How about you guys? C?
I didn't have the roast beef today, but my roast beef experiences in the past have been nothing but pleasure, so I can't hate on it.
So you're giving B probably.
I'll give it a B minus. How about that?
Okay. And then we had turkey, mainstay for all American households.
That's true.
And we have anything else?
I think that was it. Obviously the cheeses, we had provolone and Colby Jack, and we also had squeezable mayo, mustard.
Squeezable mayo.
What else do we have?
Honey Dijon. Honey Dijon.
You're
big Honey Dijon guy.
But basically, that was super fun, and it was interesting, and I'm glad we got to do that. I had white bread. I don't think you said that, did you? We had white bread.
Honey wheat.
I didn't even know what bread we had. Jeez. But that was pretty fun. So thanks for that, Austin and Aleksa. Let's start with you as we get into what this podcast is about. The Super Bowl, obviously one of the biggest events of the year on the sports calendar every year. And, I think everybody was expecting a better game than we got. But what were your takeaways from the game on Sunday? Because, there's a lot to unpack from what we saw. But what stood out to you the most?
Absolutely. Like you mentioned, everybody thought this was going to be a close game, high-scoring game, nervous, excitement. But Tom Brady comes in the building. The GOAT simply overtakes the Chiefs, runs through them like nothing. So Tom Brady is the GOAT. You heard it from a Steelers fan.
Yeah, that Steelers fan wants to get a Tom Brady
shirt.
Merch. So Steeler Nation, if you're listening, I don't know how that's going to go over. But Austin, your takeaways from what we saw, and you're getting put on the spot here. This is your first time on the podcast, so don't mess up. Clarky will call you. He will find a way to get your number if you say a terrible take. So make sure you're on your P's and Q's here.
All right. So I said this before the Super Bowl happened. I said there's no beating Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened. They absolutely dominated the Chiefs. Defensively, offensively, just on the front. The lines for the defense and offense for the Bucs was just amazing.
And
Shaq Barrett.
Yeah, dominating the trenches, I think, is the biggest takeaway. Mahomes got the most pressures. I think it was 29 pressures.
And did you see how many yards he had to run?
Exactly. It
That
was
was
almost
crazy.
500, I think, was the next-gen stat on that, as they ran 500 yards. And, I mean, just insane. And, that was the one place that the Buccaneers had to dominate if they wanted to compete in this game, and I thought they did a great job of that. But, I think it's funny. I think the Tampa Bay's defense has been underrated this postseason. I mean, like Tom Brady had a great stat line. I'm not taking the Super Bowl MVP away from him. Like he had a great stat line, but that defense, the whole postseason. I mean, they're throwing those graphics about Brady went through Breeze, Rodgers, and Mahomes. Well, he didn't do that. He didn't have to be on the field at the same time. The defense was insane. And in their front seven especially, I hate their defensive backs, and I've already said that on this podcast. I don't like the Tampa Bay DBs. But their front seven dominated in this postseason, and that's why they held the Lombardi Trophy Sunday night. And, Brady did what he had to do, and I'm the first one to say he's the greatest of all time. I think it's not Tom Brady that won the Super Bowl. I think it's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think that he carried this team. Now, him coming from New England to a 7-9 team that has a history of losing, I think he implemented a culture for sure. But I think we're overlooking the defense and their performance a little bit too much. And so as they go into this next offseason, Alexa, Chris Godwin, free agent. I think Shaq Barrett, is that right? I think he's a free agent. What's Tom Brady? He already said he's coming back, but what are we going to expect from him next year? Where do you see this franchise going?
You got to re-sign Leonard Fournette. I mean, I was the biggest hater of him personally, but he came in the playoffs, mentality on the spot, absolutely amazing performances. They got to get him basically the new contract. It starts from him and that Godwin. I wouldn't overreact if losing Godwin, but Fournette, I think it's a bigger piece to the team. But I think they'll be right back in the 2 months from now. They'll be right back working for next Super Bowl. I mean, when you have Tom Brady, there's no relaxing.
Right, and Fournette was huge this playoffs. He had it. I mean, he was okay in the regular season, wasn't getting a lot of touches, but he turned it up for sure. And Austin, I guess we're not really talking about the Chiefs that much, and maybe you can get into that a little bit. Where does this team go? Because it was for the longest time, ever since really the last 2 years, it's been nothing but positive talk about the Chiefs, and it really feels like this is the first time they're kind of facing some adversity. And we talked about their offensive line struggles. Do you think they need to invest there this offseason? Like, what would you like to see them do?
I mean, they're obviously not rebuilding.
Right.
They're still in contention. Anyone with Patty Mahomes is in contention. But losing that, I don't know, tackle or guard.
Fisher.
Yep,
Fisher, left tackle.
Okay. That hurts you, especially they had to switch 3 positions. So he comes back next year. I think they're still in the mix.
Yeah.
They may have to make some more signings defensively because I don't think their defense is that great. But other than that, I still see this team as in the Super Bowl next year.
Right. And I would wholeheartedly agree with that. I think you're right about especially stopping the run defense, because I feel like a lot of times on Sunday, that's where they got killed in years past. Their run defense has been kind of suspect. But, you're right about that, Austin. Look, injuries happen in the NFL. And if your team is not deep enough to combat that, then it's going to bite you. And I think they got to invest in that offensive line. Even throughout the year, it was one of the worst offensive lines in the league, and you had Patty Mahomes kind of make up for that. But you got to have depth at that position, and I think that'll be something to watch for this offseason.
You think they draft or sign?
I think
Draft.
so. I think it's got to be through the draft. If you want to keep contending for years on end, you got to build through the draft. And look, they're going to be picking in the high 31 probably. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But, if you want to be a contender for a long time, you got to be able to draft well in those later rounds too, 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. Let's touch on this a little bit. So we got 2 quarterbacks that there's been some rumors about. So obviously Carson Wentz, a lot of people know for a couple weeks now, has been in the rumors. But today Russell Wilson came out and voiced some of his frustrations. I don't know if you guys have heard this. He voiced some of his frustrations with the Seahawks and how he gets hit a lot, and that doesn't really sit well with him. So let's talk about Wentz first, and we'll start with you, Austin. Bears and Colts have been rumored to be interested. Is there any other team that you think could be interested in him, or do you think it's between the Bears and Colts? And who would you like Wentz to go to if that's the case?
I mean, personally, I'd like him to stay with the Eagles. If I'm an Eagles fan, I still see a future in him. Jalen Hurts, I don't know if he has a future. He hasn't shown. He had that one good game, and that's it. But he hasn't shown much. But if he does get traded, I'm a Colts fan. I'd love to see Wentz.
Absolutely.
That way we don't have to trade and start rebuilding.
Yeah.
We can go from where we are right now and keep moving forward.
Right.
But other than that, I don't know.
Aleksa, you've been talking to me for a while about this, and you're kind of back and forth on it. Where do you think he's going? And also, I want you to get into this too. Do you think that his career can be resurrected in one of these two places?
Easily. The first question, besides those two teams, I can see a little bit of Saints. Drew Brees is gone. I feel like...
Okay, what about the Steelers?
Yeah, what about your Steelers? Hey, and by the way, I don't know how long we are into this podcast. The Steelers have not been brought up yet. Have they been brought up by you yet? So I think that's a new record that we made it this far without the Steelers being brought up by Aleksa. But this time, our guest brought up the Steelers, so I don't know how to feel about that. But anyway, keep going.
But with Steelers, with Wentz, I cannot see it. I think we should play out this with Haskins. I'm a big Haskins believer.
And you're a Rudolph guy.
And Rudolph guy, of course. But I think Colts at the end. I see it. It just feels like a Colts move there for me personally. I feel like he's going to be, if he gets back to 2017 version, top 10 quarterback.
Yeah. How much are they going to have to give up, though?
That's the thing right now. And I don't think anyone knows, because you look at what the Lions got for Stafford, and that's kind of set the market for guys like Deshaun Watson, who's in trade rumors. And now it's going to set the market for guys like Wentz, Darnold. And, it'll be interesting because it's going to say a lot about what that team thinks Wentz can be by what they give up. Because, he's still young. He does have a little bit of an injury history, but he's shown he can be a top QB. But it's like, can he do that again? And that's what's going to be interesting to see. And I'm not really sure what you give up. And if the Eagles' asking price is really high, I have no idea. But We'll touch on Russell Wilson here, and I don't want to speculate where he's going to go because it's really, those talks haven't even really started.
I don't think he's going to move.
I really don't. But let's just talk about the Seahawks in general, because it feels like, it doesn't feel like they haven't gotten back to the Super Bowl since 2014-15 season. And you have this great quarterback there. What do you think they have to do? Because Legion of Boom isn't walking through that door. Marshawn Lynch ain't walking through that door. What do they got to do? What do they have to do in order to get back to not only just a Super Bowl, just an NFC Championship game? Aleksa, go ahead.
He's absolutely right. That is completely offensive line is completely bad for last 3 years. Whenever we come into season, we're like, how does he do it? With basically no support at offensive line. They got to rebuild the offensive line. They got to fix the run game because their running backs won't do it for them. And, last year they drafted in first round a guy that's like a third-round pick. So they got to draft good. They got to fix those two things. And Russell's right. I would be complaining too because that team has so much potential on the offensive side, but it all starts with offensive line. If you protect Russell, results are coming in. If you don't, no results.
Exactly. And it all starts with the offensive line. I think is a great point. We saw it in the Super Bowl. Brady had all the time in the world to make any play he wanted. Mahomes didn't. And no matter how good Mahomes is, it's hard to overcome offensive line deficiencies. Austin, go ahead and touch on this. I feel like you're a big Russ guy. You like Russ.
Yeah.
But
to me, the Seahawks are just based around their big name guys, Jamal Adams, DK Metcalf, and Russell, obviously. And so I feel like they need some, not superstars, they need some middle ground guys.
Role guys that do their job well.
Corners. Defensively, I don't feel like they're good, but if they step it up one more notch, they don't have to worry as much about the offensive line. They still need help on the offensive line, but that
defense has got to, it can cover a lot of problems, I think, right? And I think their defense did struggle at times this year, but I mean, if you got Jamal Adams as one of your pieces, you're gonna be a good defense, and I think that's where they got to invest too. I agree, but it's just interesting because I feel like Russell Wilson's been this guy all these years that just lays back and just plays football, always speaks things in a positive way. But it was kind of shocking to hear that he's a little upset, and we'll see where that goes. Let's move to the NBA now, Aleksa. On last week's show, we talked about my all-star picks, and now we're going to talk about yours, and then we're going to get into Austin's. So just say them real quick, and then we'll discuss after. Aleksa, you can go first, and Austin, just follow him right after.
Okay, we'll start from the West. So I have Luka and Steph. Steph is, you can also... You have to have him
that
there,
game
basically.
Saturday night was
Shootout.
insane by those two, so they absolutely deserve it.
And I have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and my boy from Serbia, Nikola Jokic. You cannot overlook my boy, even though I've been harsh on him for some past seasons, but you got to put him there. And East, Joel Embiid, hands down. KD, there we go. KD.
Hey, KD. Okay.
Kevin Durant, Giannis, of course. Bradley Beal, I gotta pay him respect. I mean, what he's doing in the clown show there, you gotta put him up there, and he
I
needs
agree.
to get out of there.
I agree.
And this might surprise people.
Oh, the bombshell is coming, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not who I said at first. I changed my mind.
Wow.
But I like him personally a lot. It's Drew Holiday.
Wow, that is kind of shocking. All right, I like it though. I like it.
Who's that over? Who else is in contention?
Russell Westbrook.
Westbrook.
He oh man. And why do you think Russell Westbrook? Who gave you the inspiration to put Russell Westbrook in there?
My boy Ryan Hollins.
Oh my God.
He's right. When Russ puts his mindset on, he can be the best NBA player. But that's the thing with him. He wants to do everything by
He's
himself.
just a stat
Right,
stuffer, though.
right.
Exactly. That's what it is. He wants to do
Ryan
everything
Hollins
by himself.
in the flesh, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan Hollins, aka Aleksa Matijevic. All right. Well, I think that's a really good list. We'll discuss. But Austin, you're up next.
All right. Also, so my guard's the same. Curry, Doncic. I don't see anyone else really. I mean, maybe Dame.
Mm-hmm.
That could.
I think
compete
he's the argument there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the forwards, the front court, I've got Jokic, Kawhi Leonard. I mean, he's having a great season.
Mm-hmm.
That Clippers team is having a great season.
They're scary for sure.
And then LeBron, obviously, you can't count him out.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to the East now, at guard. Beal, again, he has to be in that starting lineup.
He deserves.
And Zach LaVine, because Zach
Wow.
LaVine
All
is on
right.
a trash team right now.
I like that.
I like
on
it.
a trash team and leading them right now, keeping them at least somewhat
Playoff
competitive.
contention. Yep.
And when he got traded from the Timberwolves a couple years ago, I didn't see why. I
liked him from.
didn't like him for on the Bulls. I don't know why the Bulls did that.
Yeah.
But he showed out, and it's paid off.
Yep.
So for the front court, Antetokounmpo, obviously, can't. He
should be there. Absolutely. Absolutely.
and then Embiid.
Okay.
And here's my kicker.
All right.
Here's my
there we
kicker.
I thought the kicker was already Zach
wait.
LaVine, but hold on, ladies and gentlemen.
Jeremy Grant.
Wow.
Jeremy
All
Grant.
right.
Same reason.
He deserves some respect.
Yes. He's probably not going to start.
Mm-hmm.
But Jeremy Grant is having he has to be most improved.
Yeah.
He's hands down leading that team that was led by Blake Griffin all these years. And Blake Griffin hasn't even dunked this year. There is a stat. He hasn't even dunked this year. What he's good at. So Jeremy Grant has changed that whole team around, and that's my take. That's my hot take.
I like that because he signed that big contract and it felt like, whoa.
Everyone questioned it.
It was like whoa, a role player for this type of contract, that's crazy. But he's lived up to it, and if not exceeded that contract. I really do like that pick. Go ahead, Aleksa.
Nuggets offer him the same deal.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked.
He wouldn't have made that. He wouldn't have put up those numbers though.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He would have still been a role player.
And he had a great conference finals versus Lakers, and I was like, man, Lakers should go out and sign him. Obviously, he's asking for a lot of money, but yeah, I mean, I really do like that.
Okay, Montrezl Harrell, or
yeah.
I mean, who do you take?
Yeah.
I'm taking Montrezl Harrell.
I know they needed another big, but
They need that big boy.
But I really like that. And even though, and again, Bulls, Wizards, and Pistons, they're not having the greatest seasons, but I think there is something to be said about those guys' seasons getting recognized. So I really do like that. And the Drew Holiday pick I think is interesting because here's the thing. I have been on the Milwaukee Bucks train forever, ever since they picked up Drew Holiday, and I said that's going to be the move that puts him over the top. And it's not like he's having the great stats, but I think even though the record isn't as good, I think
he's been valuable.
He's been valuable. That's a great way to put
changed it.
I think so, because I really do feel like they still have a good chance to make it out of the East. But all right, so thanks for that, Clarky. You can call me with your thoughts on both of those teams. You know my number. And let's move now we'll touch on the D Rose trade just for a little bit. Just going to get your thoughts. Derrick Rose got traded back to the Knicks to play with his old coach Tom Thibodeau for Dennis Smith Jr. and a couple singer picks. Alexa, we'll just touch on that with you and then we'll move on. What'd you think of that?
I'm shocked. D Rose needs a ring. Let's put it simple, ladies
True.
and gentlemen. You ain't getting one with New York.
Yeah.
And I like what Pistons did there. Dennis Smith, former Mav, he has potential. He has really good potential. New York hate him. He's like, oh, you're part of KP trade, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't see the future for him.
Yeah.
He's another Frank Ntilikina.
But
same draft
he's
class too.
I mean, he wasn't even playing in New York. He has to go down to the G League in New York. Like, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what to think of him, but.
And I like that. I think if he puts his mindset to it, grinds it like the Mavericks did, that's 20 points per game there.
Could be. Who knows? And I think the Pistons do need more guard play.
I mean, if he plays and he doesn't show up, though, he's not getting a contract next year, to me.
No.
He
might be
Europe
overseas.
time.
Serbia.
Partizan.
And we might touch on that a little bit later, right?
Probably.
During rant time. We need to come up with a name for that, man. I swear. So that's that. And now, Alexa, we're going to hit a segment. And I know this is the third time that I've brought Clarky's name up, but this is for him. Because the Penguins got a new GM. And what everybody in the world wants to know is, are you going to storm that front office? That's what they want to know. Anyway, just talk a little bit about the Penguins GM, then we'll move to rant time for all three of us.
Last week has been pretty rough, but they're getting their group together. But this GM, I'm going to be honest with you, I have no clue who he is. All that I know is that Penguins like that guy for a long time, so I guess it's a great move. But we'll just have to see if he does something stupid.
What's the NHL world saying? Are they is the Penguins fans happy?
They are happy so far.
Okay.
He hasn't traded any first-round picks yet.
No.
Okay.
No.
So I think we're good then.
We're good so far.
How many picks are in? How many rounds are in the NHL draft?
How many?
6 or 7, I think.
Okay.
Right?
So it's
don't look at me. I got no clue.
You're the NHL
I'm in
guy.
Austin's boat here.
I know there's more than 5.
Okay.
I had NHL 14, and that's the only thing I know about
I
it.
don't even know anything. So, but thanks for that, Alexa, and we'll keep everyone updated on if Alexa's buying a plane ticket to Pittsburgh into the front office there.
I'm joining him.
Yeah, if that happens, I'm just going there to watch. I'm gonna watch him just stomp in there and break the door down and you might have to buy a hotel till the MLB draft because you'll have to go there again when the Pirates don't draft Kumar. But we'll see about that. And now let's move into rant time. And now, Austin, I think you know where we're going with this. Just getting stuff off our chest that's been bothering us lately. We'll go to you last, and we'll put you on the hot seat.
I think mine's the least important, probably.
I disagree because it's going to affect when
it's going to affect all of us, I guess.
True. So, Alexa, let's start with you. You can go into rant time. Actually, I don't know what this is about. You said you had a couple options. I don't know what you're about to go off on, but it's always fun to sit back and watch you. So go ahead.
I'm rolling with my first rant. So this Thursday through Sunday, there is a cup in Serbia. It's called Kup Radivoje Koraća, and it's a basketball tournament with 8 teams, right? So my team is starting this Thursday at like 3 p.m. And there is basically games throughout each day. So the team they got picked to play first was not good. They already beat us twice this year, and I really don't have patience for that same third-time loss. If we go through, we play the rival. And now hear me out. This is where my big rant comes in. No fans. My team breathes off, not oxygen, but off those fans' energy in that building. They've been horrible without fans this year. You just need those fans there. You need those support. And I think it's going to be hard. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose this Thursday coming up in quarterfinals. But it's just embarrassing.
Is that it?
That is it.
Okay. Literally breathes off the fans' energy. That'll be something to see. So for my little rant here, I'm very vocal on Twitter. And, I see some stuff, and when I see it, I like to call it like it is. And that's a lot of times my problem with some sports media clowns that I see, is they don't call it like they see it. They make up stuff. They contradict themselves. And two guys I want to talk about today. One of them you may know very well, and I hold him near and dear to my heart, and Stephen A. Smith. There's also another guy named Rob Parker who works for Fox Sports, who he may be kind of well known, but not as well known as Stephen A. Smith. And I'll start with Stephen A. first. He went on First Take after the Super Bowl on Monday and said that Mahomes has no chance to ever catch Brady in the GOAT discussion. The GOAT discussion's over, and we shouldn't talk about it anymore. First problem I have with that is, no, you're going to talk about that on your show for the next 10 years. Like, don't ever tell me that there's going to be no GOAT. Like, that's going to lead your show all the time. Second thing is, Patrick Mahomes just finished up his 4th season in the NFL. And was the Sunday all on him? Absolutely not. Was there things he could have done better? Yeah. But to sit there and just write off the rest of his career because of one game where he didn't have an offensive line, I mean, it's just silly to me. And I don't get it, and I reject this idea that we're just going to write the rest of his career off and that he can't do anything to surpass that. I mean, his first 3 full seasons are unlike anything we've ever seen in the NFL. Who's to say that can't happen down the road for more seasons? So that kind of made me mad. And then Rob Parker, he's on the opposite end of the spectrum. He doesn't think Tom Brady's the GOAT, and that doesn't bother me. I think you're allowed to have your opinion on that. But what does bother me is he's also a LeBron hater too. So he doesn't like Brady and doesn't like LeBron. So basically he doesn't like greatness, right? And so he went on and said that Tom Brady's like the Robert Horry of the NFL because he's won 7 championships. And he went on to say like how the defense helped Tom Brady out so many times. He's gotten so lucky, and how just stupid things like that. And he also said, just because you have more rings doesn't mean you're the better player. These things require context, is what he said. And, it's funny. When you apply that to the LeBron argument, when people try to argue with him about LeBron being the GOAT, he says, oh, Jordan's got 6 rings. That's his first argument. And it's like, do you not understand you're contradicting yourself? And so, I come on this podcast, and I know it's a small following, and it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But if there's a small chance I ever do make it big, I want all the people listening to me right now to just hold me accountable. That's all I ask. I think it goes for you too, Aleksa, Austin, and anything you do. You don't want to contradict yourself. I mean, it's just a fundamental human thought to just not contradict yourself. And I see it too many times in sports media, and it just makes me really, really mad.
I mean, you see it in media in general. I mean,
yeah, all the time. Just contradictions. I mean, I just can't take them. Anyway, Austin, round us out here. I know this is running long, but go ahead and finish it for us.
All right. So everyone loves internet, right? Everyone loves internet. It's a thing everyone has. But here at Ball State, we don't have it. We don't have it. We don't run off of internet right now.
This is Stone Age.
Yep. We're not on internet right now. We do not have internet. We have to wait 30 seconds for something to even pop up. Snapchat story, Instagram, anything. this is ridiculous. I have anatomy. I have all these different classes that, have to do by Friday. So at least, Ball State professors, give us an extra day. We had a terrible Tuesday.
Yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't come on by tonight, what am I going to do?
I got an assignment due at midnight. How am I
Exactly.
supposed to be getting that turned in when I can't even load Canvas up?
Yeah.
If you're gonna turn off the Wi-Fi, turn off the electric. I don't need it.
Turn off the campus, man. Just shut down the school
Yep.
for a day.
Everyone go home.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's COVID time. We need Zoom. There's no way we're gonna have
Exactly, dude.
school. It's just terrible. And I know it's not really anyone's fault. It just it
just an
happens.
unfortunate
But
thing.
as a student, I'm not happy and I don't understand.
That was a great rant session, everybody. And so, that could affect what time this podcast comes out, but whenever it does get to you guys, I hope you leave some questions in the comments for Alexa and I and whoever might be joining us next time. And let's go around and give shout outs. We'll go back to Austin to start out. Who are you shouting out today?
All right. The meat lady at Payless today, she did not help me with the pastrami sandwich idea. I was wondering, like, how should I make this pastrami sandwich?
We have no background in meat sandwich making.
Yeah,
So
we're not
asking for some
We're
help.
not meaty people, okay? So she just didn't help. So I'm shouting her out. Hopefully you guys give her a dislike or something.
Alexa.
You're going to hate me, but I'm rolling with my boy Ryan Holland. Shout out. 2009 Spurs playoffs, 2 points, 5 rebounds. But the way he guarded Tim Duncan, that energy brought up, fireplace. Search it up, guys. It's 44 seconds. It's hilarious.
He's got a 44-second career highlight reel. That's
Basically.
how,
That's all his
sorry.
career was.
For real,
44 seconds.
44 seconds.
That's how sorry he is. My shout out goes to the makers of the Sweet Tarts Cherry Heart Suckers. It is the greatest Valentine's Day candy in the world, and to get my lips on those things again today was a dream come true. It's been a long time, and I'm hoping that I can go buy another stash and save those things. And that made me really happy and made my day today. So for Austin, for Alexa, for myself, thank you for tuning in. Austin, that was fun. You did a great job for your first time. I know you're a little nervous and put on the spot, but
Hey.
it was a really good job. So thanks for that, and we'll catch you next time on the Ball Boys Podcast.
Jesus, boys.